and welcome to video 1 of the intermediate basic videos. Now, generally for comeback players, semi-pro players and teachers, the issues that arise generally that I get asked questions about or you see on forums and everything is range, is efficiency and flexibility. And generally the frustrations of playing, of hitting a plateau, are the topics of conversation. Now, I've been through this stuff and I've been lucky enough to learn off guys like Bobby Shue and Roger Ingram and Wayne Bergeron, and you've seen Arturo Sandoval and Gary Grant and all these guys do workshops, and you pick up a lot from being with the best of the best and being around it, getting their ideas and hearing their sounds. And a lot of the things that I've learned that I'm passing on these videos are things that have helped me. So if you're having trouble getting past that plateau, generally there's a misunderstanding of how the sound is created on the instrument. Now, that is generally instinctive. We've got an idea about how to play. So a lot of the conversations I have are with, and giving lessons online especially, are getting people to rethink about the way that they create the sound, because we're just naturally inclined to tighten the lips and push hard. Now, hopefully you've watched the first 5 beginner videos just to go see how I go about getting beginners to get started on the instrument. Now, one of these videos in this series will be a demonstration on how I like to approach demonstrating to kids in a very short amount of time. When you're doing brass nights and recruitment, there's a really quick and easy and effective way to do that. So today I'd just like to touch on the concepts. Now, all of the technical development skills that I want to develop are based on simple concepts, and if you understand the concepts, which are based on either laws of physics or just some very nice visualizations and a couple of sensations that I'm trying to develop within the body and the mind, if you can get the concepts, the rest of it will fall into place. So very quickly, I'm going to just talk about the basic videos that already exist, have the backswing, the slingshot, and demonstrate the mouthpiece and the lead pipe and discuss shape. And I very quickly just want to talk about all of that now, and I'll expand more in the next few videos. Firstly, I use the backswing because it's a movement of the arm. The brain gets used to this movement, so every time you do it, whether it's with your hand, with your mouthpiece, with a rim, or picking up the instrument, you get into a habit of, I've moved my arm, I'm going to take a deep breath, regardless of the fact of whether you're having to watch a conductor or turn pages of music or put mutes and stuff in. This movement is going to make a habit of correct breathing. So hence the backswing is important in sport, it's important in brass playing, and generally we don't breathe. I want to get we've got this line of equalization here, atmospheric pressure. When we breathe up, okay, if I relax all the muscles in the body wants to reduce back in size due to the elasticity of the cartilage between the ribs and the intercostal muscles and all that sort of stuff. And then there's that release, and that's generally what I want to work on at the start. We can get stuck into more abdominal compression for louder, higher notes later on, but I want to make sure that we're breathing not as people generally play, is breathing to about here, and then and using the abdominal muscles to squeeze the air out below that atmospheric pressure line. So it's very important that we're up here. It's the inhale and the release. So the next part of it is the slingshot. When you've pulled the slingshot back, you've put the energy into the sling. It's potential energy. As soon as you let go, the stone or whatever's going to go. The same is the idea here. Once we've expanded the body, as soon as you release the abdominal muscles, the intercostal muscles around the ribs, and just let it come back to that position of repose, there's energy there. You can use more to expel all of your air by using your abdominal muscles. But for the time being, I don't want to look at that. We're talking about efficiency here. We just want to keep things really simple. If the body strains, your sound is not going to be as good, okay? So then the next step, of course, is mouthpiece, and I simply just want to blow air through it. To find the air stream that we're going to blow through it, I like the ah-ooh exercise that you've probably already seen. What the ah-ooh is doing is going from ah, there's no tension here in these muscles whatsoever. Ah, and then we go ah-ooh, 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 ah-ooh. You feel the tension build up. Now, people hate the word tension, but if you have a look at a timpani or a snare drum or a double bass or a ukulele, in the skins and the strings there is tension, and that tension is required to create vibration and sound. So I don't want tension to be a dirty word. I want it to be understood, and to say that tension is not force, it's not strain, it's a degree of tension. And in order to refine your mechanics, an understanding and a respect for tension is really, really important. Because as we go along, I'm going to be talking a lot about the aperture corners coming inwards from outside to in, firming up, which is going to create a faster vibration. So we set up the airstream, and then I want to just direct it straight out. One of the big problems is rolling that big lip under. I want to get it out, forward. The top lip does most of the oscillating. The bottom lip has got more to do with pitch change. So in order to develop a sensation of what I want it to feel like, the ah and the breath up high, and then just release everything. Now, do it a couple of times and close your eyes and internalize the feeling of it, okay? Because I want you to, when you do it, tell yourself that's what it feels like to play. Now you can see by what happens to the tissue, there's a hell of a lot of energy can come out of the body when those corners are firm, but there's a nice little bit of gap between the lips. There's a lot of energy there. So we need to become familiar with the sensation of that moving freedom of air, and not that if I said to you, imagine playing a high C or a G above high C or a double high C, what messages does your brain send? Generally, I get people, when I ask the question, they just laugh because they know what they'd do. They'd tighten the body up and they'd pinch the lips and they'd force, and it doesn't work. So you can feel that resistance of the instrument coming back at you, and that's a misunderstanding of what's actually going on here. So to develop the sensation of what we want to put through the instrument, and then just simply put the mouthpiece over the top. Disclaimer: this is not to suggest that every note on the instrument is going through lips that are wide open. That's not it. But what I'm doing is developing a sensation. I see so many people that are so tight in the lips, bottom lip rolled over, top lip pinching down, and they go, I play fine, but I'm limited. And I go, well, you're playing inefficiently. You're cutting off the resonance from your body, and everything's tight, so you're not going to be able to tighten up even more to get higher. So I'd need to undo this. So I'm taking it back to scratch, going from the extremes of mega tight to super loose, just to begin to let the sound out of the body and get the sensation and the feeling and the freedom of airflow. So you can't do enough of this stuff at the moment. Now, no doubt you've seen when I add the lead pipe how the lip goes into vibration. Now, it can take ages to sort this out, but if you stick with it, you'll get it. Because of the resistance in the pipe, the lips start to vibrate when the air gets reflected backwards and forwards. It sets up a sound wave, and that is the most efficient way of playing. Now, Clearly there are a lot of great teachers and a lot of great players that mouthpiece buzz and even lip buzz. I will do a video in this series on lip buzzing, and it's all fine if it's done correctly, and there are sound implications to it as well, and depending on the style of sound that you want when you're playing depends perhaps on the degree of thickness of the lip and the grip that you put into it, because you can notice you can change the sound quite a bit. But the biggest problem with playing with people of all standards is that tightening, the pinching of the lip and inhibiting the airflow. Bobby Shue says the lips are the biggest hindrance to the airflow. Think about that. That's important. The lips being a hindrance to the airflow. It's the opposite of what we think. It's counterintuitive. You think that the lips have to tighten up and buzz faster. They need to vibrate faster, but they don't need to tighten, and they don't need to touch. They can be free and oscillating. Arnold Jacobs, in one of his books, says the psychology of air vibrating on an airstream sympathetically. So let's get that sensation and that idea. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, so I know the setting that I want here and I know the looseness I want in the middle. When you first start trying to do it, this might happen. I'm totally cool with that. It'll feel ridiculous and you'll go, well, I can't actually play like that. But what you'll find is that eventually when you learn your aperture corners, you'll find that you can. Now, what's happening with my lips there is exactly this, and I can say that it's exactly this because I've experimented with it for ages, and for a long time I was putting the mouthpiece on a different spot to the actual visualizer. But when I'm doing that exercise, I've done the ah-oo, and the teeth are nice and apart, and now have a look at the size of the hole in here. Now remember, we're developing sensation. So it's very open and there's no grip in the oscillator at all. And if you try that, you'll go, there is no way I can play like it. But I implore you to keep trying and open up more and more, get that jaw down. It will draw the corners in, and it may be a totally foreign sensation for you. But if you're having trouble with the way that you've been doing things, please explore something else, because it's the best thing that I'd ever learned. It's opened up an entire register, and efficiency's increased, flexibility's a heck of a lot better just from understanding this. You can see there's still a lot of lip tissue there that will vibrate, but there's a real freedom of the air. Now you may just get a very low, that's, as I said, very fine. Now the difference between that is a slight change in the jaw, slight change in the facial muscles, slight change in the tongue, the concept of shape. Now, shape is the pitch control mechanism. It's the face. That's what it is. It's the face. There's lots of books talk about tongue and lots of books talk about lips and air direction and the whole sort of thing. I just want it to be simplified. The air comes out, and what happens to that airflow as it goes through the lips determines what happens on the pipe or the trumpet. Now, the lips are the final frontier. This is where the action happens, but it's at the corners of the lips. So I want you to develop the sensation of the ah-oo, the corners that grip the mouthpiece. When I say grip, I don't mean grab, but that's what really touches the rim. I can change pitch without doing anything with my air. And people of the idea that you need to push the air faster to play higher. It's just simply not It's not true. You don't have to push at all. You don't have to change the airflow. There's a lot less air goes through the horn when we get higher. A lot less. There's so little air going through in the upper register. It's kind of it warps the mind, because the sound suggests that there's huge amounts of work going on. But that's why I spend so much time doing these videos, to try and convince people that there's a heck of a lot less work going on than what we assume, than what we instinctively think. If I go up into the upper register, the note is staying at the same volume, or maybe even getting a little louder. So therefore I am using my abdominal muscles. It's increasing lung pressure by pushing the diaphragm up, getting more, the lips are wider open, so there's more amplitude. Okay, now consider this. I can guarantee to you that I'm not doing anything with my air. If you were to put your fingers in my solar plexus or in my sternum there, in the middle of my sort of belly, you would feel that there's nothing going on. There is no push whatsoever. I demonstrate this to students all the time to get the idea that range does not come from here. Range comes from here. Volume comes from here, because you need to support more airflow as the aperture opens further. Okay, so for example, we can demonstrate that even further. I'm clicking up those notes. There's no way you can oscillate your air speed that quickly. You can't possibly do it. So going up higher, this is going on, the tongue's arching, it's changing the resonance in the mouth. I'll talk about that in the other videos. But I need you to understand that in changing pitch, less air goes through the horn. Volume. So the middle of the lip has to keep vibrating, even though it's super, super, super fast. There's not much air going through, but I played it loud, so the body's working more, but it's not pushing against a resistance. I'm not pushing, killing myself in doing it. I'm giving that frequency the flow that it needs. I'm not overblowing it. I'm giving it what it needs, and through a correctly positioned shape. Tongue arches, yes, it's changing the inner resonance of the oral cavity. The lip is clearly firming up, and I get emails from people saying, my lips don't change tension at all. I'll put together a compilation, or just get onto YouTube and watch a stack of trumpet players. I've seen recently Winton, Bobby, Arturo. Then some of them are doing warm-ups and some playing. You check out what's going on here. There's movement. It's not excess movement, but there has to be a change in the tension of the lips to change pitch. It's physics. It's the way that sound is created and frequencies change. So I've opened a lot of can of worms. I'll go through them and explain this in more detail in the next 4 videos. So basically the things I want you to remember from here is backswing. Then the energy's in the body, the slingshot, releasing air, releasing, not pushing. Release. Don't push. Okay? Then visualizer, mouthpiece, lead pipe. The lips must respond to the airflow. The lips respond to the release of air. They've relaxed and they oscillate freely. The sound of the trumpet comes from the body. There's less air goes through the instrument in the higher register, so you need to figure out the resistance of each note and put the amount of air required for whatever pitch it is that you're playing, for whatever volume you want to it. Now the book goes through continuation from the beginner lessons and establishes these concepts and gives you exercises to develop without the pinch coming in, and it just goes step by step, up by semitone, 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 and looks at the fundamental techniques of what are they: slurring, valves, tonguing. What else is there really? It's not that complicated. We just need a method of breaking down exactly what's going on when we're playing and being able to recognize where those flaws are, especially for comeback players. I see it all the time where you accept that this is going on in the body, okay, and when that tension's there, it's like we've accepted that that's part of playing the trumpet, but it shouldn't be. You'd never sing like it, you don't talk like it, yet we try and play like it. We've got to get rid of that, hence the sensation of the wind tunnel. Fantastic. Why I'm not wearing one now, I don't know. I'll use one in the next video. So get your mind around these concepts, and we'll look in the next few videos the approach to getting beginners happening, more about tension's not a dirty word, heaps of other great stuff. Come and check it out. Remember the concepts: backswing, slingshot, the visualizer, loose lip, the lead pipe, the mouthpiece, freedom of air movement, lips responding to air. All right. I hope you're enjoying the videos at the site. Have a look around, shoot me an email, ask any questions, video requests I'm really up to as well. So if you've got any things you'd like me to have a chat about, I'm way up for it. So see you at video number 2.